Welcome to the System Simplified podcast, where we feature top leaders who share stories on how to successfully systemize a business. Now, let's get started with the show. Hello, Adi Klevit here, the host of the System Simplified podcast, where I feature top founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders about systematizing a business. And today's episode is being brought to you by Business Success Consulting Group, where we create, document, optimize, and implement processes and procedures so businesses can grow and thrive. And today's guest, I am very excited to introduce today's guest. So Tommy Breedlove. Hi, Tommy.
Hey, Adi, how are you? The last time you and I saw each other, we were both keynoting at a conference.
That's right. It was in Arizona, and big shout out to Carl Cox from
Amen.
40 Strategy. He was on my podcast, I think, twice. He's probably going to be here again. I was on his, I think, twice, and my third time very soon. So Carl is amazing. He's an amazing connector, and he created a great conference in Arizona, and another one coming up again in November. So it's the 40 Growth Strategy, which conference. So
and
absolutely.
You crushed it, Adi. You came and you just served the audience. They got so much out of it. I wasn't even a keynote. I emceed, so I got to receive all of your wisdom and goodness too. So I was the master of ceremonies, but looks like I'll be keynoting there next year. So yes, shout out to Carl at 40 Growth Strategy. Amazing conference going to happen in Arizona again. Come join us.
Absolutely. November 2027, 26, I'm sure also 27. But you did fantastic, Tommy, and that's where we connected. And I'm going to read your bio because it's such an honor to have you there and also on my podcast. I have a celeb here. It's amazing. Okay, so Tommy, you are a Wall Street Journal and USA Today best-selling author of Legendary and an internationally recognized keynote speaker. You have delivered transformational talks, and I believe that, to organizations including Toyota, HCBC, and Cushman and Wakefield. And previously, you built a successful career at Deloitte. And before you became a shareholder, an international practice leader, and board member at a major financial firm.
Seems like a lifetime ago.
I know, it's amazing. That's what I'm saying. It's like a celeb here. Okay.
A lifetime ago. Yes.
And today, your work challenges ambitious leaders to build lives of clarity, courage, meaning, and impact.
Yes.
Yes. Tommy, what a great career. But let's concentrate on now, because now it's not then. And now you also, the way you live your life, like you live in an amazing place.
Yes.
North of Atlanta. Tell us about it. Tell us about the whole concept here.
Yeah, I live in the North Georgia Appalachian Mountains, and not many people know that the state of Georgia actually has Appalachian Mountains. We're actually the southern start of the mountain range, and it goes all the way up, I think, even into a little bit of Canada. So I live in the North Georgia Mountains. I own a boutique hotel along with my wife. We own a boutique hotel and a fine dining restaurant. It has 3 bars. It's probably the most exclusive, high-end, and I'm not saying that because it's mine. It just is. In the North Georgia Mountains. So we're very blessed to own that. But I also own a company called Legendary. And you talked about the book. Legendary it's a community first of entrepreneurs, executives, and high achieving people who want to accelerate their success in their business, who want to be better business leaders, but they also want to do that without compromising their life, their relationships, and all that matters to them. So we're a community first. And we do experiences, masterminds, retreats. It's just cool people who want to grow and make an impact, who want to go do fun things in fun places and be surrounded by people with the same stresses, opportunities, and challenges of them, but also want to accelerate success. But most important is just to minimize those big dollar failures, but also the significant failures in life. So we own both companies here. I'm the founder, and I run Legendary. Actually, Erica Moore, who you've met, actually runs Legendary. I'm just the person who gets up here and evangelizes it. But my wife is the CEO and founder of the Mountaintop Lodge here in beautiful Lanaga. So we're entrepreneurs. So we I spent 20 years in the financial world. She spends 30 years in the financial world. We met in accounting school. So here we are building companies, hopefully making an impact, and not only on the people we serve, but God willing ourselves as well. So thank you for allowing me to say that, Adi.
Yes, you're very welcome. And that's very impressive. I'm curious, what led both of you to the vision of, or to, well, there was a vision and then starting the hotel and a fine dine restaurant and a retreat that is like on the Appalachian Mountains. Like you woke up in the morning one day and you look at your wife or she looked at you and she said, hey, let's do it. I mean, how did it come about?
So it starts with Legendary and then it goes into the hotel. So we'll start with Legendary.
Yeah.
So when I started, before it was ever Legendary, because of my former career in the financial world, the fact that I was a shareholder, an international practice leader, was on the board of directors, and I went through this massive transformation in my life, where it looked on the outside that I was extremely successful, but on the inside, things were really bad, and things behind the scenes were bad. So I transformed my life at 36. And when I transformed my life internally, the external benefits were incredible. That's where I was promoted all the way to the top of the firm at 39 years old, and most people are in their 60s. But here's the genesis of how the hotel happened. So when I transformed my life, I never intended to resign from the financial world. But all of these entrepreneurs, these private equity, lawyers, corporate executives, they started reaching out to me. And, I thought we were just going to do more business together, but they wanted to hear my story. And they wanted to hear how I didn't give up my success, how I didn't give up, but I changed. I felt to them more peaceful, more calm, more relaxed, honestly, less arrogant. And arrogance is just insecurity on steroids. I really just became Tommy and was okay with who Tommy became. Through that process, these people said, "Hey, I'd love for you to coach me." And I was like, "Okay, man, I'm an M&A financial guy. I don't know how to coach you." So we started coaching. Well, then with my coaches, my mentors, my executive coaches, and my family and inner circle, they said, "You got to go do this as a career." Fast forward, I was executive coaching for 4 years, and that business just took off. But I'm like, hey, and I resigned my equity of the firm, I moved on, etc. But I was like, I could make so much more of an impact doing this at scale, teaching the people these principles, these leadership principles, teaching them how to be better in business, but also teaching them how to accelerate their success in life. Well, from that, we started running retreats and conferences, and then we wrote the book Legendary that did really well. And so we were traveling doing these things at other people's facilities. But you can never control the cost. You can never control the quality of the food, the quality of the service. You're up there giving it your best, but if the hotel, the food, the restaurant behind the scenes not giving it their best, it's just not going to work very well. So we're like, we need a place to where we can control the service, the quality, the hype. So we started by, hey, we're gonna buy a facility that I can host my events at. Now I'm about to explain a real big problem that we have. But also, it's an investment in real estate, it's an investment in a business, but it's in a beautiful place that when we're not running our events, that people can enjoy it and experience. They can come join the beauty of the North Georgia. They could hike, they could go to wineries, they could climb waterfalls. But most importantly, they're staying at a place they don't want to leave because it's a very, very high-end boutique hotel in a beautiful place. The problem with that is the Southeast United States has discovered it. And so people are running their sales meetings, their board of directors meetings. The hotel is full on a regular basis. The restaurant's packed. Now, as Legendary, I can't even host my own events at my own facility because the demand's so high. So good problem to have, but it started with, but my wife is also a financial person. She's the CFO of the largest vinyl and fabric company in the United States. But she's also a creative and likes to generate experiences at first for her family and friends, and now for the general public, and now for our Legendary members and community. So she loves creating spaces that make people feel special, make people feel like they're at home, and make them want a place that they don't want to leave. So we've got these two businesses that have had these meteoric rises that they've come together, and now we're having growing pains that are just fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What a great story. I mean, Tommy, you probably not gonna want me to say that, but like before you became Tommy, like you are right now,
Yeah.
were you always like this? Were you always very much grounded, knowing what you're gonna do?
No, not at all. It's interesting. I'll give you my background story a little bit. I grew up in South Atlanta near the airport, and I grew up in and around a lot of violence and a lot of abuse inside and outside of the home. My sister and I, and my sister never really made it out of there and has functioned in life. And at 18 years old, I became what I hated. I became, I was bullied relentlessly. I had abuse and bullying inside and outside on the street and the home. And at 18, I was the first person in my family that I thought was going to, I had all these scholarships to a lot of universities, and I thought I was going to be the first person to go to college and to hopefully get out of this neighborhood and make something of myself. And unfortunately, at 18, I became the violent and abuse that I hated, committed a crime, and was looking at 7 years in prison. And so I lost the scholarships. Luckily, I was only sentenced to 2 years. It was dropped from felonies to misdemeanors, but I spent my 19th birthday incarcerated. And so I was directionless. I didn't have any great male mentors in my life. I was lost. I thought I was going to go to college. And so what's interesting there is an African American gentleman decided to cross racial boundaries in jail, which is unusual. And he called me young blood. He's like, yeah, because I was 18 years old. And he was like, young blood, you're not going to become a part of this revolving door system. So with his accountability and love and mentorship, when I got out, I went to work in a nuclear waste container factory, went to community college at night, ended up at the University of Georgia and graduated with an accounting degree. And that set me on my professional career. And to answer your question, I thought that just kicking ass and being world class in the business world, getting to the top quickly, making a lot of money in the corner office and the titles. And so that's all I focused on. And I focused on that, but I was also this arrogant, insecure boy who never dealt with his demons from how he grew up, right? And so I get to 36 years old and I've got the fancy car, the title, the suit. I look like the Wolf of Wall Street and I live that lifestyle. I'm not proud of that. Everybody thinks that movie's great, but when you live it, it's a nightmare. And no one realizes that everyone in that movie ended up going to prison, right? And lost everything. Well, I'd already done that and I wasn't going to go back to jail, but I was systematically and unconsciously destroying my life, destroying my relationships. And it was just the obsession with more and more and more. And I was also giving up my soul. And I thought, hey, I could lose it all yet again, and almost did. And it was that proverbial second rock bottom. The first was committing the crime at 18, and at 36, I found myself lying in a ditch in downtown Atlanta. And I've got the whole world at my feet, from a success standpoint, externally, but internally, I was just shot. And at that moment, I said, I don't know if I'm going to get a third shot. And I just said, I am going to make finding out who I am, where I'm going, honor my core values, find out who I really am, and just start this process of being a better man, a better human, letting go of those insecurities and fears that were just consuming me. And at that point, Adi, I hired every coach I could get. I read every book I could get my hands on. I hired therapists. I did all the work. I did all the soul, mind, and spirit work, the heart, mind, and spirit work to be a better man, to be a better leader. And what I experienced in my life tangibly was I shot up through the firm and came to the top. I doubled my income, 10x my net worth, all these things that people want, right? But the most important thing is I found peace. I found purpose. I was no longer arrogant, which again is just insecurity. I became self-confident, but not self-obsessed. I found more humility in my life and decided to go in all of this work that I'm doing now, helping people accelerate their business and leadership success, but also help them accelerate their life success while minimizing the failures. That fell in my lap from all of the hard work on myself and pain that I endured and experienced and caused to others. So I see so many people, ambitious, high achieving, and these are my tribe, man. I'm not for everybody. I'm for those business leaders and entrepreneurs and executives and people who want to make a difference through business. But I see so many of us, and I'm saying that to me, burn down the rest of the world on the pursuit of more and win. And they think when I have more and when I get there, then I'll take care of this. And we want to have a holistic approach to be an elite, not only in what you do, but who you are. And so that's my story and how I got to here.
That's an amazing story and well done.
Thank
Really well
you.
done. And not only for making it, but also for having the vulnerability and the willingness to share it, because then it becomes an inspiration to others. So
Yes, thank you.
well
Thank you.
done all around. And it's very, very, very commendable.
You
So
really need to interview my wife because she's the one that needs the statue built after her. You need to build like 100-foot statue of this is what a wonderful human being is. Because she
that's
loved me when
beautiful.
I couldn't love me. And, we've done this bit, she's a business person, an entrepreneur, and we've done this. We've been very, very good in business. And that's what people come to us
Mhm.
to teach them is how to be successful in business and leadership. And we can do that. But it's important to us to help because we know what that's like without having the other, and it can be
Mhm.
very lonely. It can be very painful. And I don't want to walk into a big house alone without any friends and without any integrity. And that's the road I was heading on. And thank God we minimized it when we did.
That's beautiful. Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the principles in Legendary that we have entrepreneurs that are listening to us. Probably some of them, a lot of them are resonating with your story. Maybe not as tragic in terms of that. I mean, you lived it all, right? I mean, there might be somebody that feeling like, that is definitely a metaphor for my life right now or
Yeah.
where I'm at. What would be your advice? Where do you start? What are the main principles here?
Self-awareness. I think
Okay.
it's the number one failure in leadership. And the first thing is you've got to look in the mirror and do you love what
Mhm.
you see? And I'm talking about a real self-assessment. You really got to, are you happy? Are you joyful? Are you calm? Are you overwhelmed? Are you stressed? Do you like what you see in the mirror? Do you control your time or does your time control you? Are you clear in who you are? Are you clear in the vision of what you want in your life? Are you clear in the direction that your business is taking? Are you reactive or proactive? It's really, you need to go from ignorance to awareness, and ignorance doesn't mean that you're dumb. It just means you have blind spots and you don't see, right? And you need help or a community or a coach or someone that's close to you to help you get that awareness, your
Mhm.
unknown potential, the mask and armor that you wear to fit in with others, your blind spots, the stuff that you don't see. And so you got to go from ignorance to awareness to transformation. And the first thing you have to do is ask for help because you have to know who you truly are and work on self confidence, clarity. So, number one thing is self awareness. And it's very hard for people to do because they think if I just work harder, if I just make more money, if I just have more things, if I just, if I have more status in this world, and all those things are important. I live in that world. That's the world I live in. That's what I want to help people achieve. But if you do it without self calmness, without humility, without really loving who you are, and you're just trying to impress someone else, it's going to be a recipe for disaster. So self awareness is number one.
Mhm.
The number two thing I would say is what we don't do as business leaders is we don't protect and defend the number one asset, and that's
Which is
ourselves.
yourself.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. Which is us.
Mhm.
I'm talking about just not just physically. That goes without saying. You got to protect got to protect the fort. But I'm talking about mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. The key to success in life is mastering your mindset, and really being in control of your thoughts, your insecurities, your fears, your emotions, and it's work, right? It's like lifting weights. You have to lift mental weights and emotional weights. You have to do the work to get stronger. So number one is self awareness. Go from ignorance to awareness to transformation. Number two is you got to protect and defend and prioritize the number one asset, which is you. And number three is you got to find a like minded tribe of human beings, a pack of wolves that you want to run and do business in life with. And for me, I always invested in those groups, because of where I came from. And I've outgrown a lot of my friends, I've outgrown all of my family. And constantly wanting to level up and be in rooms and around people who lift me up, make me better, make me happy, but will hold me to account and don't let me drink my own Kool-Aid and not let me move forward. And so for me, those are the three things that I think you need first. But what we normally do is just dive in further on our business. And we let our businesses control us as opposed to us controlling our business. And I could teach a master class on less is more, buying back your time, how to go 10x over 2x. And it's so counterintuitive from what most people actually do. You
Give me
have
an
to start
example.
with
I want
you.
to hear about the counterintuitive. So I'm sure our listeners want to. First of all, everything that you said totally resonates, and I know that that's also part of what you do is you create that group of people that are, that tribe, which is very important. And I belong to many groups, and I completely agree with you that you have to surround yourself with people that are your tribe or people that you aspire to be as well. And
Yeah.
even if you feel like for me, it's the uncomfortableness test. If I go, well, I don't know about yeah, would that, no, I'm gonna do it, and then I find it that it is, or not, and then I don't go. But
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But okay, so let's give me an example of something that is counterintuitive.
Less is more. And it requires leverage. And I'm going to speak in business terms that I hope I'm sure you'll
Yeah,
all
of course,
be
we are
okay with.
talking to
So,
entrepreneurs here.
yeah, you've got to leverage there in order to scale, right? First of all, you have to buy back your time. And that's not my words. That's Dan Martell's words. So every time your time is the most valuable asset as the visionary founder, entrepreneur, CEO, executive. So your time is in, and so people we start to get in control. We're starting to want to do it all. We think if we don't do it, it won't get done. And that's not leverage. What you have is a full-time job where you pay you and you have the worst boss in the world because that is you. And basically you've just given yourself a job. And so it's
I mean,
about leverage.
when I was there, my boss, myself, didn't even give myself time
Oh
off.
yeah. And we're the worst on ourselves. And so to me, success is about leveraging time, leveraging content, leveraging humans, and leveraging capital, and leveraging, you'll love this, Adi, systems. And
Hmm.
so that is how you go from being a solopreneur and a self-employed entrepreneur to really building, going from a level one to a level two entrepreneur, a level two to a level three entrepreneur, and really eventually where your money buys more money. And at first, your money needs to buy back your time. And there's a lot of
So let's
ways.
talk about that. I love
Yeah.
that concept. So the money buys time. So what it means for me is that let's say a solopreneur, or if I'm an entrepreneur in this first level, and I go like, yeah, I can do everything. Of course, I'm going to do my own bookkeeping. I would go just as an example, and I go, no, I want to buy. If I want to buy back my time, yes, I'm going to hire a bookkeeper. Although maybe I'm a better bookkeeper, doesn't matter. But now it's one less thing that I need to do. So that's an example, right?
That's right. And so let's go basic first.
Yeah.
Is so there's multiple people that you have to hire in order you have to leverage. We're talking about the who's that you have to leverage in order to buy back your time. You don't hire for growth. You hire to buy back your time. And of course, as the founder, executive, CEO, you can do things, not all things. Don't get hubris here. Well, I can do it all. No, you can't. I was going to say something. No, you can't. Because you probably have two or three things that you're really probably world class at, elite at, and they're probably why you started your business, i.e., systems, processes, it leverages those systems and processes, build the foundation of the house sturdy so that then you can build everything on top of that because you fall to the level of your systems, you fall to the level of your processes, you fall. Anyway, so let me get back to it.
No,
So
it's but you're right. But when I started, when I saw the niche of the systems, I saw that I only can service two clients. And just like you, I got all these people calling me and and I was like, I cannot do that. I mean, I don't have enough time, even if I wanted to. So then I had to hire others because it just doesn't work.
yeah, what I would do, and this is going to get a little technical, is I would come up with if I was overwhelmed, I'm doing everything, I'm bookkeeping, I'm administrator, I'm booking my own appointments, I'm running my own calendar, I'm servicing the clients, I'm doing the sales, I'm doing the marketing, I'm doing the operations, which means you just got a solopreneur self. But with the thing I always hear is I don't have any money to do that. Well, that's a lie. And I bet if I audited your time and money, I could tear it apart. And so the first thing you got to do is establish your worth and what you're really world class at doing. So what are the three things that A, you enjoy doing and B,
Enjoy.
you're
That's a
ultra good
good
at?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, and if you're ultra good at it, like I am extremely good at buying and selling businesses, and I'm extremely good at financial engineering because I've been trained by the best in the world to do it. I mean, I was at Deloitte. That's like the New York Yankees of public accounting. And so I'm really good at those things. I just don't enjoy it. And so if you don't enjoy it, you won't do it. So the first thing you got to do is, what do I really enjoy doing that I'm also elite at doing? I believe that I'm one of the best in the best, and if I continue doing the reps, I will be one of the best in the world at that. So that's where it starts. Anything beyond that, you've got to leverage, outsource, buy back your time, and find somebody that's either 60 to 80% as good as you, because 60 to 80% of you on something you're not good at, that's something that's probably lesser in value than the value that you're creating. That's a no-brainer. That's called leverage. That's paying this and getting this back. So it's the arbitrage in between the two. And that's how banks have built the biggest, banks and insurance companies have built the biggest buildings in the world. And it's called leverage and arbitrage. So I don't want to use big words. So let me go back to simplicity. So the first thing is that you got to pick the three things that you're world class at and you enjoy, and nothing else. But we'll start here. The first thing that you're going to need is an admin. You don't need to be checking your email. You don't need to be booking your travel arrangements. You don't need to be responding, because you could outsource that task to someone who's probably better at you, or at least 60 to 80% as good as you. So that's the first person I would leverage. That's leveraging more of your time so that you can go more of your art, and I call it your zone of brilliance. And so the first thing you need is an admin. If you want to know, well, I can't afford an admin, you're lying. Here's the formula. You take what you make or what you want to make, divide it by 2,000. That's the average number of work hours per year, right? That's your hourly rate. And I guarantee you it's higher than any administrative rate. And if you really want to get sexy, you could divide it by four, and that's going to be the rate that you need to pay them. And that's probably some of your wasteful spending. And then you can get a virtual EA, you can get an overseas EA, you could probably get a personal, whatever it is. But I promise you, you cannot not afford it. And if you just want to continue to work for yourself and be overwhelmed and stressed and do all the things, do it, man. How's that working out for you? But if you don't, it starts with leveraging a human. So the first person I would leverage is administration. The second person I would leverage is execution of the product. The third person I would leverage is sales and marketing. The fourth person I would leverage is operation. The fifth person I would leverage is, and this is when you fire yourself, is your CEO. And so eventually you fire yourself, and it's about leverage, and every year cutting. The world class of the world class do less, but more of less. So every year they cut 80% out of their wasteful task, and they either delegate it, delete it, defer it, or just do less of it. And every year they take 80% and get rid of it. The next year they take 80% and get rid of it. And eventually they work themselves out of a job to where they're the founder, the chairman of the board, they're setting the vision, the strategy, or God willing, they hire someone else who's better than them to do that. And that's I could teach
I
27
completely
days on
agree.
this.
That is amazing, Tommy, because that's exactly, I mean, I totally relate to it. It was actually one of my first hires was my executive assistant. And, and are you successful always? No. I mean, I went through three until I found the one I have right now, which is amazing, but it's fine. It's totally fine. And then you're right. It's like you have to find somebody to deliver your product or service, because otherwise you are,
You are the
and now we're
product.
growing, we have like a team of more than 15 and growing, and I'm hiring and all of that, but it's you have to. And then of course, you just get yourself out of the job, out of the job, out of the job. And I love writing content. I love writing articles. I enjoy it. So I get myself more time to do that, which
Yes.
obviously it's very good, but it's like, it's not because I'm forced to do it. I don't like writing some things. I don't like writing, so I hire. I don't like it, I
Yeah.
don't do it. But I just like enjoy, it just like writing is something that's very enjoyable for me. I'll continue doing it until I decide no more, and then be somebody else. But I think it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I like that human connection. Like, before we talked before the show, I said, we talked about what is the number one subject people want to talk about, and I said AI, and
AI.
you go like AI. So
AI.
what's I just want to know in like 2 minutes, what's your take on AI and where are we going with that?
So AI is here, it's not going away, and it's necessary. It's going to replace email. It's going to replace most humans. And so the first thing I would say from a macro level is you've got to get in a business that where you're touching, feeling, you're giving humans an experience, seeing them, hearing them, value them, because humans are still going to buy humans, and you've got to give them extreme value. I think AI is one of the most wonderful tools in the world. I would not just use here's my take. And so I'm working with a coach right now. And I want to step back real quick and then I'm gonna answer like really answer your question on the AI front. I'm working with a coach right now that is building an AI platform that's going to be, I mean, I'm lucky to have him right now because I have a feeling he's going to have a B behind his name in net worth here soon. He's already extreme net worth, but I have a feeling, but he's also an amazing human being. But let me be clear, talking about leveraging human beings, I have been a world-class failure at hiring salespeople. I've paid seasoned people way too much. I've hired young people and paid them way too little. I've had everything in the middle. I've outsourced it to other firms. And so I am still figuring that out. I'm working with coaches on it. I'm working within my own mastermind. I belong to a mastermind. So I'm still working, like you were talking about your admins. I did that wrong 4 or 5 times. And that's how you fail forward. So to think that I have it all figured out, but we are scaling, we are leveraging, we are doing it, we are practicing what I preach, and we're failing forward. So I wanted everybody to know you're not going to get it right, but you got to do something. You got to do something different than you did yesterday. Going back to the AI, if I was a business person right now, I would be using all of the big platforms right now. So I would be using the Google platform so that it knows you, it knows your business, it knows your impact, it knows your purpose, it knows your vision, it knows your avatar client. I would be using Claude for the same thing. I think ChatGPT is just going to become an irrelevant big source that people use, basically as the internet. But I think there's 3 or 4 other services that those AIs need to get to know you and they need to know you well because it's going to replace SEO. It just is. It's going to become the new thing. So the 4 or 5 big AI platforms, it's not for me to teach what those are on this call, but think Cloud, Chat GPT.
And
I
they're
can't,
probably gonna change by the time this is. I want to make it evergreen,
correct.
so by the time like 3 months from now, it's gonna like who we
They
didn't
need to
realize.
know you. And you need to
Yes,
leverage them as strategy partners, not just to write your email, not just to do. They need to push back on you because they're smarter, faster, and better than you. But use them as a coach, a CEO, and strategy. But you've got to train them like you do an admin or a salespeople. You got to let them know who you are, why you do what you do, what's acceptable, what's not. That you don't need a friend, you don't need a cheerleader. So leverage AI, but all of the AI platforms, they need to get to know you and they need to know who you are, why you do what you do, and why you're relevant. And you need to talk to them on a regular basis. And so that would be my one AI advice, because AI and robots are here. That's the way of the future. AI and robots. That's it. And so if you can stay ahead of that, stay with it, don't bury your head in the sands, and please don't be scared of it. If they take over, it's not going to matter. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. So you've got to just stay out of fear and use the resources, leverage those resources, but get to know all of them and get to know all of them very fast.
absolutely, I agree, and also maintain what we really cherish as humans, which is the connections. It's like going to your retreat 2 hours, in away from Atlanta, in the north up and the south, or I guess the end of the Appalachian Mountains. It's not anything that an experience with AI will replace. So
No.
again, with that human connection is very important, but don't be afraid. I mean, this is it. This is here to stay. Learn how to use it and learn how to stay ahead of it, basically, and use it for your advantage. So
Yeah,
absolutely.
I
Tommy,
agree.
great, great advice. I'm sure our listeners just want to reach out to you right now and talk to you and find out more about you. How can they do that?
Yeah, two ways. Email me directly, and I'm going to be Tommy@livelegendary.today. I mean, just email me directly. And the great news is I have 3 people that watch that account, um, like their life depended on it. So Tommy@livelegendary today. And tell me what your dreams are, what you're working on, who you want to know, who you want to meet, and we will help you. Hopefully, you want to come and hang out with cool people. If you want to hang out with some high achieving entrepreneurs and business leaders, we have an event coming up at the end of February. It's called Your Life, Your Legend. It's the first time we've hosted it in our hometown of Atlanta. Last year it was in Orlando. The year before that it was in Tampa. It's our biggest networking event. It's our biggest leadership event. It's our business success. You've met Trey Taylor. He's one of our keynotes. He's going to be doing. He's the best-selling author. A CEO only does three things. We've got a former NFL player, Rennie Curran, who's an expert in leadership and overcoming huge adversities. We've got a former Navy, not Navy. He's going to shoot me. Army Green Bay speaker going to be there. But it's an event to come to grow, to connect, to have a lot of fun in a cool place, but to also leave there better than you arrived and go execute in your life. It's where we bring our entire tribe, our entire champions, and the general audience together and I speak 3 times at the event. So super excited about that. But we've got that coming up at the end of February over a long weekend. So I'm super excited about that. But if you want to know, if you're looking for a community that you want to do business in life with, that want to level you up and accelerate your success and minimize your failures, but also hopefully find some clarity and some freedom and all that too, come check us out. Email me at Tommy@LiveLegendary. We're all over social. You can go to livelegendary.today and find more about our events, our experiences, our retreats, our mastermind programs. But yeah, reach out to us and we'd love to talk to you. Chances are, if you email me and you want to chat, you'll get Erica, who runs the company. You've met Erica, Adi.
Erica's
she
amazing.
actually runs
yes.
the company. She's
You
smarter, better,
Erica.
faster than I am.
Yes,
chances are she's going to call you.
Yes. Well, Tommy, absolutely. We're going to have all that information in our show notes and definitely check it out. And thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast, Tommy. It's been an amazing interview.
Adi, I'm humbled and I'm better because I know you. I look forward to doing this again, and I'm going to host you live here in our studio in the very near future. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the System Simplified podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.